this election. Don't. I want you to be faithful. Okay, how many were able to add 5? Okay, 6. Anyone above 5? Anyone who was able to add above 5 numbers? How many? 6 numbers. Anyone above that? How many were able to add 4? Quite a number. How many were able to add 3? Thank you. How many did not know what you were doing? Okay, you have a second chance. Are you ready? Tijo, you have a second chance. Are you ready? Not that one, not the one on the screen. Not the one on the screen. Are you ready? 20 seconds. Let's go. Tijo, your timing? Let's see you do that. Okay. How many were able to add 6? Anyone? The heart is not, they are not very sure. Okay, I want to see whether they added properly. Bring the books. Bring. Those two bring. If you're sure you added properly. No. You're disqualified. Because you're calculating it. You need help. Now, no, you're adding now. I asked. How many were able to add 5? Don't add now. Let me ask you, what do you think was harder to do? The first or the second? Which is harder to do? The second by far. Because you're wired to concentrate one item at a time. It was easier to do that than the second. You're simply not multitaskers. You concentrate more when you have these kind of numbers than when you have these kind of numbers. They're very confusing. Interesting. So I suggest today, focus and concentrate on what you're doing. If you need to switch off your phone, please do so. Does that make sense? Leadership principle number 5. Let's go to number 5. Execute plans. Execute plans. In 1986, the first Microsoft IPO, initial public offering, immediately produced 3 billionaires US dollars and an estimated 12 millionaires US millionaires. It's interesting to note that despite that level of success, even those who are not declared millionaires, dollar millionaires, they achieved significant successes. But it's also interesting to note that nobody became poor because of the number of millionaires that were produced by Microsoft. I was taught in economics, for you to get a shilling, another person must lose a shilling. And what Microsoft proved is that we can all get better together. You don't have to lose for me to gain. And because Bill Gates understood something that most of us miss, out of 23 years in a row, he has been declared the #1 richest man for 18 years. Undisputed, he's still holding the position today. He realized something very basic. It's a dangerous place to be in all alone. To be in an isolated place of success is not sustainable and tenable. And what I'm suggesting here is not for us to go to the plain lands, to where others are, but to invite them to the mountaintop, to where we are. But most of us are insecure with talents. We are in a culture where we are threatened by gifts. We are threatened by youngsters who are coming up. We are a culture whereby in the corporate world, they keep talking in their circles how to cut you down to size, lest you grab their positions. We're in a culture where landlords do not want tenants to ever become landlords. We're in a culture where employers will never equip employees with skills to someday run their own business. That's the culture we are in. Is that familiar? I need to say this. We taught here about strategic thinking, and I strongly believe in embracing good thoughts. Ultimately, this life does not reward good thinking. It rewards executors. It rewards implementers. As I speak with you right now, we have a number of cases against Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg. Legal cases, while these two still roast in business success. One of the greatest philosophers of all time, Socrates, he lived and died poor because he never saw the business side of his lecturing career. I don't envy him. I wouldn't want to lecture on an empty stomach. I read somewhere that man should enjoy the labor of his hands. It is a gift from above. Ecclesiastes 3:13. It's a gift from God. Many great thinkers did not succeed in their normal lives. While we celebrate people like Henry Ford, who did the first model of vehicles, and Thomas Edison with his air condenser line and light bulbs and many other inventions, we hadn't mentioned the name. We don't even know the names of great minds, great brains, great scientists and engineers who worked in those factories. Most of you believe Abraham Graham Bell discovered, or rather invented, the telephone. But the US Congress in the year 2002 declared a guy by the name Antonio Meucci as the original inventor. He was declared 202, the man died 113 years earlier as a pauper. The lead inventor of operating systems is Gary Kido. When he developed his first OS, which he called CPM, some of you may have heard about it, especially those in ICT. But it's Bill Gates who hired a local programmer by the name Tim Patterson, who now did a clone, sort of a replica of CPM, and they called it QDOS, which developed to MS-DOS, to the current operating systems that you're using on your laptops and computers. It is a business survey of Bill Gates rather than the scientific mind of Gary Kido that bore results. I could give you one more. If you're like me, perhaps you use spreadsheets in all your calculations because of their ease of use, their professional formatting. Now, and the fact that you can change and rearrange cells without having to transpose an entire document has made most of us forget their hard copy counterparts. But the brain behind spreadsheets, by the name Dan Bricklin, still never made any money out of the first spreadsheet program that he made, VisiCalc. Life does not reward thinkers. Life rewards executors. That's my message here. I've seen many singers struggling because they have never discovered the business side of the music industry. I've seen lecturers who are very brilliant. Some of them taught me. But they will go on strike. When every other lecturer is striking, they have no enough cash because they have never seen how to monetize their craft. There are many people with good ideas, but all they can do is to go to a court of law and complain year in, year out. In the words of President Calvin Coolidge, the 30th president of the US, nothing in this world will take the place of persistence and determination. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Talent will not. Unsuccessful men with talent are the norm of the day. And genius will not. And the word genius is almost a proverb. Execute that plan. Number 6, manage transitions. Manage transitions. Now, life consists of seasons. Seasons keep shifting, and every shift presents a transition. Graduating from college is a transition. Your first job is a transition. You're excited. If you can flash back for 3, 4, 5 months, even a year, you're excited before you started complaining they underpaid you. A promotion presented another transition. Getting engaged is a transition. When you got married, if you are like me, for a couple of weeks you are uncomfortable to be called a husband. You didn't know how to handle that serious title. You got a mother. In some of our communities, you have to be called by the child's name, Mama Sabina. You are not sure who they were referring to. Or you meet yourself being called Mrs. So-and-so. I mean, am I a Mrs.? Does that make sense? You launch a church and they begin to call you pastor, you get confused. Who are they calling for? I remember when I graduated at the University of Nairobi, and somebody made a phone call that afternoon, my supervisor, Dr. Kenyanji, who are you calling? I was confused because this was my supervisor. You see, life is present. Death is peaceful. The troublesome is the transition. Even those of us who are completely convinced we are going to heaven, we don't want to die together. The challenge is not heaven, and the problem is not the earth. It's the transition. This thing in between. I would rather reach heaven the way I am. God, why do I have to go through this? Do you need the courtesy of an accident to get me home? Why can't I just sleep and reach heaven the way I am? Why do they have to bury my bones so that I have to believe in a resurrection? The transition is troublesome. But I want to suggest this. Transitions are inevitable in this life, and personal leadership calls you to manage transitions time and again. You see, the longer you have stayed in a certain area, the more difficult it is to acclimatize to a new residence. The more you have lived with a partner, the more difficult it is if you lose them. If you're in a healthy relationship, of course. For others, it's a fuchs. If you've been in a job for so long, the more difficult it is to quit that organization to look for another job. If you've been quitting job every 3 months, it's very easy for you to keep shifting. The thing is this, we gravitate towards that which is familiar. We latch on to familiar ground, and we are skeptical about new frontiers. What I suggest is that we must manage transition swiftly and fast enough, because if you overstay at the crossroads of transition, you risk recreating yourself from a once vibrant winner to a losing whiner. You must close the chapter and open a new one fast enough. Don't linger too much in the valley of transitions. You've got to look to the next new chapter. Leadership calls you to manage transitions, not to run away from transitions, no matter how painful, no matter how inconveniencing they may sound to you. Not running away after impregnating a girl, but taking full responsibility both for the baby and the mother. Not running away from your house because there's a baby making noise for you at night, but being the first one to soothe the baby to sleep. Not changing your phone number because of an unperforming loan, but giving an alternative repayment plan to your credit manager. Not going berserk because there's a rumor the organizational restructuring is going to face you out, but recognizing you're not the first person to lose a job. Face it head on and explore options fast enough. Not losing your cool and entertaining suicidal thoughts because a certain doctor told you to put your house in order, but realizing there could be a totally different professional opinion and alternative curative measures. And live to the last day. Don't die until you die. It's managing transitions head on. Because transitions present a chance to reinvent yourself and to recreate yourself. You see, when you're going through transitions, you can ask yourself hard questions. Are there some values I may have neglected? Is there an area in my life I may have neglected? And now I have a new opportunity to recreate myself to a new pattern of new thinking, new associations, even constructing new habits. Transition gives you that opportunity, but let's face it, many times than not, transitions come to your life without invitation. And I want to suggest every so often, initiate transitions. Disrupt yourself. Refuse to remain on familiar ground. Break a relationship that is heading nowhere. Quit a business partnership that is compromising on the values you envisioned, shared, and agreed upon when you came together. Quit a job that is injurious to your self-worth and self-esteem. Disrupt yourself. But I must caution, especially the last part, because there are a lot of people when they are sacked. Very few people on this planet, very few people can confess when they lose a job that they were sacked. Most of them, that's the time they hear the call of God to their purpose. When they are sacked. None of them will tell you, I was the marketing manager and I didn't hit my targets. They immediately tell you, Daktari, now I have discovered my purpose. Let me warn you, if that describes you, if you ever get sacked on non-performance, on a very serious note, you may never be able to confess to us. But I suggest look for another job very, very fast so that you address the same issues that your employer raised, because those issues will follow you in your private pursuits. It's harder to succeed without a supervisor. You cannot run away from responsibilities in the name of private practice. That's not a safe haven for non-performance, to put yourself on the toes. Number 7. Can we go to principle number 7? Help others to rise. Help others to rise. A few moments earlier, I told you about Bill Gates and how he helped so many people in his organization to step forward. And this is my prayer for Kenya, that we can give our shoulders to others to step on, to see further, rather than be threatened by the success of others. And if you don't have a place where people can help you to succeed, then you have found a place here. In this place, Sense 1 Life Club, we love you enough never to give you raw fish. But we help you to source for the fishing rod and train you to fish. Because if I give you fish, I'll be limited. If I train you to get into the sea of possibilities, you are limited. You are limitless. My personal conviction is that the brighter you shine, the more we shine individually and corporately. Our corporate success is linked to our individual success. It is in our interest for you to succeed. I urge you tonight, anyone who is in your household, be it a house girl, be it a worker, be it a staff member, anyone God has brought in your hands, identify the people you interact with on a day-to-day basis and make them better than you met them. Let me share with you 3 thoughts, just 3 thoughts, food for thought. First, in terms of you thinking about helping others to rise and to realize their potential. Number 1, if people come to you and they realize they are not growing, they will check out and leave you. Or worse still, they check out and stay. In a hotel, you'd rather people check out and go away rather than they check out and linger around. You don't know what they're doing. Somebody can come to Sense 1 Life Club and they realize that the agenda that brought them here, personal growth and development, is not working. And some will literally leave. And others, for political reasons, they will linger around, although they are no longer growing, which is a tragedy. You'd rather check out and leave so that you maximize yourself elsewhere. And that's true for any organization. People must see a chance for growth. We can't continually depend on one very gifted individual. We must be able to build others around us and destroy our reliance on one gifted individual. Number 2, to help others rise. Occasionally allow others to get credit and a slice of the glory. Occasionally help others to get credit and a slice of the glory. The Oscars give an award to the best supporting artist. You see, if you train yourself to play occasionally a supporting role, someone else will support you another day. So I suggest pass the ball to the player who is in the best position to score. In fact, some players will try to undercut the star who has refused to get off the center stage so so that they too can get their moments of fame. Ignore them at your own peril. My third thought. Be careful not to develop a leadership gridlock. Be careful not to develop a leadership gridlock. If everyone in the team wants to become the leader all at the same time, the resultant effect is not forward movement, but a stalemate. If everyone in the team wants to shine at the same time, the team loses the game. So I want to propose to you today, play your position and play it well. Whether in marriage, whether in business, whether in a small team, just stick to your position and become a star in your position. We need the goalkeeper as much as we need number 11, as much as we need the wingers. Allow me to make some concluding remarks today by drawing one or two key critical lessons from the analogy of a lion. You see, what converts a cub into a king that rules is a fierce fight with the reigning monarch. While this cub was born a king, was born a leader, leadership is never given. A fierce battle is preceded to taking over the kingship. I ask you, what establishment, what systems do you need to wrestle down for you to take over the leadership that is legally yours? What thoughts do you need to bring into your captivity? What habits do you need to overcome? What battles must you win? The king marks his kingdom. You'll find lions being very clear with this. And they do in two ways. They, and I hope you don't take me to be naughty by saying this, they urinate around their kingdom. I think you've seen that, even with dogs, isn't it? And then they roar about 5 kilometers distance. And they do that every day. And that's sending a strong signal to every other male. This is my kingdom. Any penetration is not tolerable. I ask you today, have you marked your pride lines? Have you demarcated your domain? Do you even know your domain? Do you know to what extent you want to influence this world? Have you marked your territory? Because you can't lose that which you don't have in the first place. Once they mature, it is interesting to note that they have mating rights with any lioness in the pride. So the male can mate with any lioness, and many boys like this part. But men know there's a responsibility to every privilege. There is no man who takes the privileges of a husband without the responsibilities of a husband. But to all of us, men and women alike, promotion comes with responsibilities. You can admire the glory, but you neglect the responsibilities associated with the new position. But while every single male is entitled to mating with the lionesses, I regret to tell you this, most do not. During the mating season, the weak males get eliminated so that they don't pass on their seeds. Nature rejects weakness. Weaklings are killed and destroyed. Never play weak. Stand firm. Stand strong. I read somewhere that the kingdom of God suffereth violence. The enemy will kill whatever gets killed. He will eliminate whatever he can eliminate. You've got to stand on your feet. Deeply rooted saying, someone's ship may sink this year, but that's not mine. I'm not the giving up type. I'm going nowhere. And you see, the strong males pass on the seed to the next generation. They pass on their influence. Will you pass on your influence? I ask you, are you influencing where you are positioned right now for you to be able to be given the next level of influence? Because you are not going to be entrusted with a higher level if you despise small beginnings. Who are you influencing right now for you to demand or to pray to go to the next level? Because you're created for influence. But even though they were young, even before they become lions, royal blood still flows inside of them. This royalty does not come with their size. It is within them. So the real question here is whether your potential is latent, trapped on your inside, or it's been released, influencing the society. It's not a question whether you have it or not, but what you're doing with it, because you're designed with this influence in you. There's a lion in each one of us. We are created for dominion. We need to identify our domain. We need to fight off all intruders to our kingdom, intruders to our hearts, intruders to our careers, intruders to our marriages, intruders to our families, and give leadership. That's why lions are able to rest. And I want to invite you to that place of rest. They sleep like a baby. There's no other animal in the African jungle that sleeps like that. Because a lion would rather fight to death rather than lose his identity. And when you know who you are and whose you are, then you can afford to have sound sleep, not insomnia, not knowing what will happen tomorrow. And the place of rest I'm inviting you doesn't mean you're not going to work. It means it's a life where you stop hustling and pursuing your purpose because you are king. You come back to your rightful position. You are born a leader. You are born to lead. Thank you, and God bless you.